Welcome back to Southern Arizona Nonprofits, where we're going to meet the superheroes impacting our community. This is your host, Barbara McClure, coming to you from the Business Radio X in Tucson. And I have with me today two great organizations who've really helped out during this COVID crisis. And I'd like to introduce to you Steve Asp, who's the Exalted ruler of the Catalina Mountain Elks Lodge, number 2815. Welcome, Steve.
Thank you.
And I have also with us Jim Perkins, who is a member of the Catalina Oro Valley Lions Club.
Thank you for inviting us.
You're welcome. Thank you both for coming. You know, it's been a long time with COVID, and I have to say, you know, this show focuses on the superheroes that are impacting our community. But as a nonprofit, Impact to Southern Arizona really struggled this year, and I have to say that our amazing donors and our amazing community partners rallied, and we were able to continue feeding people and helping people who came in needing jobs and who just came in with no hope. And really, it's because of partners like the Elks and the Lions Club that Impact was able to bring hope to so many. So I wanted to share with you today these amazing organizations and what they do, because really, they're the ones who saved nonprofits this year, even though they are nonprofits themselves. And I'd like to start off with the Elks Club, because this year the Elks really rallied, and through some local grant opportunities through their own organization and just some fundraising, they were able to contribute over $84,000 in cash to Impact, which we spent on food and all kinds of wonderful things that helped people in the community. So, Steve, thank you for that wonderful contribution to Impact.
You're welcome. I'm glad we were able to do that. Like I said, like you said, with COVID, our programs have been somewhat restricted. You know, some of our fundraising activities we haven't been able to do. So we were glad that we had the available funds to help you out. We know we've done that in the past, and we know you put it to good use.
Well, thank you. That's true. We've been partners for a very long time, not just since COVID. So that is true, and worked on a lot of programs. So maybe you can tell the audience what the Elks are, because I have to tell you, I grew up in Pasadena, California. So if you're all familiar with that, that's where the Rose Parade are. And right on the corner of Colorado and Orange Grove, where the parade takes the corner, there's a gigantic white mansion with a giant elk on top. And it's the Pasadena. So growing up, it was always the Pasadena BPOE and this amazing elk on top of the building. So that was my first introduction to Elks.
Well, Elks have been going for 150 years.
Wow, there you go.
You know, there are like 825,000 members in 1,800 different lodges nationwide. They're doing 85 million in veterans, community, and youth programs. And a fact that I was astounded to learn, they're second only to the federal government in giving out scholarships. And our scholarships, they don't have to pay back. So
I think that is amazing. I remember when I first heard that, I was shocked. That is a lot of money when you consider what the federal grant does.
It really is. There's 30 million in veterans programs, 12.4 million annually in community investment programs. We do drug awareness programs and educational programs for youth, several youth activity things that they do, including an essay contest, giving kids their first dictionary in the third grade, programs, soccer and hoop shoot. They have competitions for scouting and youth support programs, and they are rich in tradition and patriotism. That kind of spells it out. The stock answer of who the Elks are: American citizens who believe in God and guide their course in life by the cardinal principles of our order, which is charity, justice, brotherly love, and fidelity. Living good life.
Yeah, those are all good characters, good values to hold. I'm sure that's a neat thing. I noticed when I'm at the lodge, I've seen that you have a lot of plaques on the wall. And when you talk about how many lodges there are nationally, I have to tell the audience, the Elks Lodge here in Oro Valley and Catalina is an amazing organization. So how about some of those great recognitions you guys have? The wall's full of plaques, but they get national recognition too.
We get, there's all kinds of awards that are given annually by the Arizona Elks Association, which comprises 44 lodges and 27,000 elks. So we're pretty lucky that we can, get into some of these competitions, like membership things, like the monthly bulletin we put out, they're all graded. However, we have many youth activity things, and some of our kids score real well. We get awards for that. And like you say, the wall is pretty full of these plaques. We've gotten quite a few of them in the last 20 years. We're only 20 years old.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Seems like such a well-established club.
We just established 20 years ago. So it was established on October 10th in 2000. So
that's interesting because that's about the age of impact of Southern Arizona.
Mm-hmm. That's probably about when we started helping you guys.
I know, isn't that funny? That's probably why we have been partners ever since, and so close in location as well. Well, and how about you, Jim? At the Lions, I know they're another social organization that do a lot of programming in the community. What kinds of things do you do at your club?
Well, I'd first like to thank Steve and the Elks Club because that's where we have our meetings. And if we didn't have their ability to have a meeting at their place, then we wouldn't be having any meetings. So we really thank you for that. The Lions Club is their mission statement is to serve. So they've been in existence for about 100 years, 1.4 million members, over 200 countries plus, in 200 countries plus, and it's the biggest service organization in the world. So what we do is we do vision screening here in Tucson, all over the state. Vision screening, health and safety fairs, where we do diabetes tests and vision screening. And then we have a camp up north called Camp Tadia, and it's for special needs. We give a lot of food to the local community food bank, and all their local schools we give school supplies for as well. And then we do some homeless veterans assistance also. So that's what we're...
Gosh, that's so nice. So all those things just touch so many different lives. That's what's really nice about, I think, both the organizations, the Elks and the Lions, is that you touch a wide variety of people, and I think of all ages. So it's a huge bonus to the community to have you there. That's so wonderful. Can you tell me a little bit about the camp?
Oh, the camp is it's up in Lakeside. It's up in the White Mountains, and it's for special needs campers. We call them campers. Anywhere from 7 years old to adulthood, and it's free for a week. They put in like-minded campers with like-minded, with the same disabilities, say hearing, sight, just all kinds of disabilities, and so they're all the same. In other words, and it's free, and so they're all with each other and having the same difficulties. And this, they always do this thing at the very end. They ask them what their favorite thing was for that week. They interview them because it's a different amount of people every week. And this one guy, usually it's the go-karts and the Ring of Fire and the singing and all that. But this one guy, this one camper said that for 1 week he was normal. So that's kind of touching. But no, it's a last year we couldn't do it because of COVID. They went virtual, they had a lot of fun. They still got to go to camp somewhat. They didn't get to be up in the mountains.
They didn't get to go go-karting.
They didn't get to go go-karting. No, but they had a lot of different acts, and some of the campers were showing how they make their favorite meal, and it was very impressive. They had a good time.
That's exciting. So do the members of the Lions participate in the club, or who runs the club then?
It's all run by donations.
Sure.
But it is staffed. I don't remember. I think there's only like 4 or 5 staff paid people. Everybody else is volunteered.
Oh, that's nice.
And except for when the campers do come in, then they have to bring in some nurses. It's 24/7. They have care there for these campers that that need to be cared for.
So for people who are listening, if they are parents of children with disabilities, what kinds of qualifications would allow them to come to the camp? Is it just something they can contact the Lions Club and sign up for or find out more about?
We'll put on the thing there. The website is camptadia.org, and you can get all the information you need. You can get anything. They have applications there, and they can tell you if you want to donate, that's fine. That's totally up to whoever, but ours are mostly donations and some grants.
Oh, that's very cool. So we can put that on the website for the show so people can click there and connect to it. That'll be a pretty exciting thing. That's a neat thing to do for children.
It's a lot of fun.
I know the Elks do things for children. That's one of your main, isn't it? Children and veterans.
Say, as long as we talk about
Sure,
camps, the Elks have one as well.
Oh, there you go.
The Jack Warner Youth Camp. It's up in Young, Arizona, in the White Mountains, and it is. It's not necessarily for special needs kids. It's for groups. We've had Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, church groups, and there's cabins there with bunk beds. There's a big mess hall, they call it, and it's all run by volunteers as well. They have, you can find it on the Arizona Elks Association website as well in terms of how to make contact. Again, last summer we didn't have a lot of use of it with the COVID situation, but we're hoping to get it set up here at the end of April, doing a cleanup for our spring cleanup and getting it ready for hopefully a bunch of kids to use this summer. So.
Oh, that'll be exciting. I know kids must really miss camp, but I'm sure after being home alone, being homeschooled by their families, they probably will all be happy to get off to camp and have a unique outdoor experience. So that'll be two nice options, and we'll put that on the website as well so people can connect. I know one of the ways that we partner with the Elks at Impact is when we have a lot of clothes at our clothing bank, we will donate some clothes to the Elks Lodge to pass on to their veterans program. And maybe you could share with our listeners some information about the veterans and the clothing.
Yeah, we've been doing that for a number of years. We've been collecting clothing at our lodge, and once a week we sort through it and separate it and figure it out in terms of sizes and whatever. And then we had been taking it down to the VA hospital, but since COVID, they don't want it. But there's another group called American Vets, I think, here in town. They come pick it up, which is good. We don't have to carry it down there somewhere. I can't tell you how many thousands of dollars worth of used clothing we've donated to veterans in both the VA and this other organization. So, but it's a lot, and it's pretty heavy job every Tuesday we do up there.
I bet clothes are remarkably heavy. It doesn't look that way, and it takes a long time to sort through them and organize them, I'm sure.
And there's a lot of people like in Saddlebrook who know that this is a place to get rid of some of your closet cleaning activity.
Sure.
And that little pod that we have out there fills up almost every week.
I have to say at Impact, because we have a clothing bank, we were laughing at how everyone had to self-isolate. You remember back in March and April and then finally in May, and people were chomping at the bit. They're like, is the clothing bank open yet? Because we've all cleaned our closets and we've done all the spring cleaning and we need to bring the clothes. And our clothing bank wasn't open, so there were no clothes going out. So the clothes, we kept saying we can't take them yet. We just can't take them. And finally, we started to open the clothing bank, but we had to do it on such restrictions that we did open the back at the same time, and it's piled high with clothes. So I think we'll have some more clothes for the veterans soon.
Okay.
One of the projects that we did recently, which was really fun, and we partnered with the Lions on, is that we've adopted a group of single mothers in the community in Oro Valley. And so our community clothing bank manager went in and she pulled all kinds of purses, beautiful donated purses for these 25 mothers. And then we took them to the Lions, and the Lions collected some items. And were you there, Jim, when they packed those purses? Or
yeah, they had a really we were inducting a couple new members, and I was busy with something else, but they were done in like 15 minutes. But we have people from different clubs there, and they had a wonderful time. They really want to do it again sometime. They really
fun.
Enjoyed it, yeah.
I know the Lions donated some items, and Impact had some items, and we had things from, socks and some hygiene items to nail polish, and we've got some lipsticks to throw in them, and we're delivering them to them in a couple of weeks. So it's going to be very exciting. But that's another interesting project that comes from what you were talking about, Steve, the generosity of the community who just want to donate their gently used clothing items to people. And we did this with another group And the people who receive these purses are so appreciative. It's just really rewarding to see that and to know that it matters. So that's kind of a fun little project. So we're all working on clothes and keeping people clothed. I think I was going to ask you, Steve, what does it take to become an elk? What are the qualifications to become an elk?
Well, basically, you have to be an American citizen. You got to be 21 years old. You have to profess a belief in God, and you must be willing to pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. And you have to be proposed for membership by an already existing elk.
Gotcha.
And that's essentially it. But
well, that's not too hard. Those qualifications aren't too high-reaching, are they? Important, but not outside most people's.
And we actually have a program we call the Antler program for younger persons, usually high school age, to associate with the Elks Lodge and do some of the things with the Elks and whatever. So when they finally turn 21, they can become Elks themselves.
Sure.
And they're a big help around the lodge too.
I bet.
And usually they're children of elk members, obviously. So.
Oh, but that's fun. I always love to see kids get involved in community service early. It's how they become, involved as adults, and it just becomes natural. So that's a fun thing for children.
One of the things I kind of forgot about that we did with the Lions Club, Jim, you could probably tell them about how you tested the eye test.
Yeah, the vision screening.
Yeah, yes, the vision screening. Talk about that.
That turned out really well. 2 years ago, we were donated 2 Welch Allen machines, and Impact donated one to us, and so did Saddlebrook Outreach. So that because of last year with COVID, we couldn't do anything. So, but the year before that, our very first year of having 2 machines and having help from several different clubs, and we managed to do a little over 10,000 students here in Tucson. Well, the Copper Corridor all the way to Marana and all over the Northwest. And we did private schools, we did charter schools, we did parochial schools. It was on some of these schools, the machine will give you a pass or a referral. And on some of these schools, we were getting a 20% referral rate, which is over 20% sometimes, but it's extremely terrible. I mean, they really need some glasses out there. And a lot of them were the low-income schools that they just didn't have the ability to go to an optometrist. Yep. So then what we do is that we go ahead and they go, if need be, we will send them to one of our optometrists and pay for their eye exam and their glasses if they need the glasses. And so it works out really well for everybody because. And then
we kind of stepped in on that end too. I think they found an optometrist that would do a test and 2 pair of glasses for like $60, which is incredible. Mm-hmm. And we donated several $1,000s towards getting some of these kids the glasses that they need.
It's amazing.
It's just our little Elks Lodge. So.
Yeah. And the reason for the 2 glasses is why? 2 pairs.
Got to lose one.
Well, I was telling Barb this morning, we give one to the teacher, and then, of course, the other one the student gets, so that way they have it because they always are forgetting their stuff and everything. And when we do these special ed, the SPED kids, they don't have the attention span that they just don't have it, okay? So it takes like 3 to 5 seconds to test their eyes, and then you'll know. And then that's about all they can then handle, And then usually they don't need glasses or something like that. But it's just a lot of fun. It's just it's a hoot.
And it is amazing how many children you can test in a very short time period. Michelle and I went with the Elks one time when they were first starting and when they were borrowing equipment from another club, and it is amazing to see how well organized it is. And kids just come through. They sit in chairs. And like you're saying, Jim, it is so fast. And it reminds me of, I couldn't tell you the name of that toy, the old, where you used to click and you put in a little film disc and it was like a little viewfinder. I'm sure Hasbro made it, of that generation. But it just looks like they just hold it in your hand and they just look into the back and they're 3 feet away. So it's even really pretty reasonable to do during COVID. Not that we were doing it during COVID, but I think that it's amazing how quickly you can do an entire school.
Yeah, we fire up next month. We fire up the April 7th is our first school.
Oh, I'm
in
so
fact,
glad.
In fact, I think it's going to be Coronado up there in Catalina.
Okay, yeah.
So we'll see how it goes because things are going to be a little different. I'm sure we'll be wearing masks,
Sure.
and probably gloves and stuff like that. And we haven't really decided yet how we're going to do the we used to use index cards, and they put the student's name on there, and the teacher and the grade, and then we just put a P or a R for pass or referral, and we just stick it in a stack. Well, they don't want to be handling a bunch of stuff this time, so
Sure.
I think we're going to have a nurse or a teacher right in between our two machines that knows all the students, and we'll just mark it off on a sheet of paper where nobody touches anything.
Sure.
We're just sitting there taking the tests, and she's writing everything down. We don't have to write nothing down, write anything. So
Yeah, that'll be nice.
I think
It'd stay safe that way, wouldn't it? Yeah.
it will. It's
Sure.
for everybody because the average lion is over 70 years old. I don't know what it is for the
Pretty much
for the
the same
Elks.
for the Elks.
Is it really?
Yeah, so
At
they
least in
don't.
our lodge anyway. I know
Yeah.
a lot of other lodges have younger members too, but
Sure.
yeah.
Well, that's probably because I think in general, as people get to the retirement age, they get to have more time to spend in those things that they're most passionate about. So
Correct.
it's hard when you might still be passionate about it, but it's hard, earlier stages of life. So I can understand that.
Mm-hmm.
Even at Impact, we so highly value that program and we've also raised some money to be able to fund some classes for the kids, especially in the Copper Corridor, because up there's such a high low income rate that those children, I know when we went, we ran into, I know your story about the high school student who,
Yes.
can you imagine being in high school and this poor student couldn't see at all?
Yeah.
And then, the principal, of course, had said, well, that's my worst discipline problem. You thought, well, that's because his correction was so high, he couldn't see anything that he was learning. And I think that was what really hit with Michelle and I that year, and why we thought that Impact needed to step in and be part of that program, because for us, one of our missions is to make sure that children in our food bank program, the kids of our clients, hopefully will not be our clients in the future. And so for us, that whole Glasses program is so significant because children can't be successful in school if they can't see. And so, that's a big part of what we're happy to participate in also. It's just huge to get children to have success in school and love school.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Exactly.
think it's especially challenging this year. And I'm sure all those families, it'll be sad that they missed out on a chance to have their eyes checked this year. So I'm excited to hear it's coming up again in April.
It's going to be fun.
It is. And how many people do you take with you at a time into those schools?
Oh, it's usually about 5 of us. We could use more, but then you got too many people then,
Sure.
So about 5 or 6. And then we try and get other clubs to help, especially if it's in Marana. Marana has a club, so they can help us go out there. They don't have the machines that we do.
Sure.
And then mostly the teachers are very, very helpful. They'll be there directing the kids, how you have to make them go places. So
It did sound like you said direct the cats.
I do.
It's like herding the cats.
That's
Yeah.
That's what they say. Yeah. So we have one lion that she just loves doing that, and she's real good at it.
Sure.
So it works out real well. But yeah, 5, and we can do 300 to 400 easily in a couple hours.
Yeah, that's pretty
if
amazing.
everything goes nice and smooth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of children are benefiting from that program and from the Elks funding those classes. So thank you very much. And for people at Impact who've funded our Glasses program. So it's very nice.
We're glad to do it.
Yeah. And Steve, I know that you said in the beginning the Elks were steeped in tradition or something similar.
And Americanism and patriotism, things like that. And anybody that is driven by Oracle on one of our major holidays sees the 35 American flags flying along the way. We do that. We've been doing that for several years. And
I have to say, as a community member, I think that is the most impressive thing. When I first moved to Catalina, it was about 12 years ago, and so it was totally unexpected. And then one morning I drove down the street, and it happened to be a windy day, so all those flags just unfurled and flapping in the same direction. It is really it's very, very patriotic. It's amazing how just
sight,
a long stand, and it's all along Oracle Highway, 35 tall flags on tall flagpoles at the street edge.
Yeah, we put them up at 7 in the morning, which is a bit early for me, but we take them down at 5. And we do, I think it's 9 different holidays during the year that we put them up.
Sure.
So it's a neat thing. We do an Americanism contest in the schools, an essay contest for kids. That's one of the youth things that we do, which is Americanism, and several other things. We try and support law enforcement and firefighters. One of the things we've done since 9/11 is honoring the firefighters in the area, and we provide a turkey dinner. We take a turkey dinner with all the trimmings to the fire stations, and they can have dinner on us on 9/11, thanking them for being who they are and protecting the community. So that's about it for Americanism. But like I said, you've got to be able to pledge allegiance to a flag, so you've got to be an American citizen and be proud of it to be a member.
Well, it's not hard to be proud of being an American when you go by the Elks Lodge, that's for sure. And I want to take just a quick break, if you don't mind, because I want to introduce the audience to our wonderful sponsors, SCIP, which is the Social Service Contractors Indemnity Pool, and they are the sponsors of this Business Radio X in Tucson program. So if we can just hold on for a moment, we'd like to hear a word from our sponsor.
Impact with Barbara McClure, featuring Southern Arizona nonprofits within our community.
Today's program is brought to you by SCIP, the Social Service Contractors Indemnity Pool. SCIP is a member-owned, member-directed insurance provider with more than 3 decades of insuring Arizona social service organizations for their property, general and professional liability, and auto claim exposures. With an Arizona-based staff of claim underwriting and risk management professionals, SCIP specializes in providing personalized service, affordable premiums, and coverage which meets and often exceeds the state of Arizona's contract requirements for social service providers. For more information, visit our website at www.sscip.org or ask your insurance agent about protecting your organization with insurance coverage through SCIP.
And we're back here today. We're the Catalina Elks with Steve Asp and with Jim Perkins of the Catalina Oro Valley Lions Club, learning about some of the things they do in the community to improve it and to help people out. And I think we've talked about some of the different programs, but I'm curious, what are some of the funding opportunities that you do, Jim, with the Lions? How do you raise money for Lions? Do you have dues or?
No, we do have dues. We have lots of donations from the members themselves. We used to do white cane, which is you stand in front of you've probably seen us, in front of a Walgreens or a Walmart, and we just ask for donations for revision, and that's one of our charity things. But we haven't been able to do that in a long time because of COVID. So it's been our funding has been really, really tough. Last year, one of our biggest fundings was doing the Jim Click raffle.
Oh, sure.
It was awesome. And so we have money now to help other things. Like at Christmas time, we adopt a family. At Thanksgiving, we adopt a couple families and do that kind of thing. And other than that, it was just personal donations and Jim Click.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, Jim Click is wonderful in this community for sure. Really, millions
awesome
for the community. And then, Steve, I know you have all kinds of games and crazy things that go on at the lodge.
Well, we have several things going on. And one of the things is we can apply for several grants from Grand Lodge, the national. And in fact, the last donation we made to you was a grant from Grand Lodge.
Mm-hmm.
And they dictate which kind of area you can use that money. But there's at least 4 of them that we get, almost every year. And it amounts to, $10,000 to $15,000. we get donations, like Jim said. We get a lot of donations, and the game you mentioned has been a boon to our lodge. You may have heard of the Queen of Hearts game. A lot of places have this Queen of Hearts game where they put up 54 cards, and they're in numbered envelopes, and people buy tickets, to put in the barrel, and once a week you have a drawing, and whoever his name gets drawn out of the barrel gets to pick a card. Well, all of our cards are worth some kind of money, either $50 or $100. So it's worth coming. And if you get the Queen of Hearts, you get 90% of the pot, which has gotten rather large. Right now, we can't do it because of COVID, because when we had this thing running in our lodge, on Friday nights, we'd have the lodge room full, the lounge full, the patio full, and people standing out in the parking lot. We had people coming from lodges in Phoenix. We had one game that went down to the very last card.
Oh my gosh!
And there was over $30,000 in the pot.
Isn't that something? And if you're down to the last card and you're the last person to get your name drawn, that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, and at any rate, we set this up. Our Queen of Hearts game is run by the past Exalted Ruler Association, which there are several of us that are still active in our lodge, and we get to keep 25% of the ticket sales to go into our charity funding. Nice. And that's been really, really helpful in the past couple of years in terms of where we get the money to help out organizations like Impact and some of the other things that we do, and the veterans things that we do that cost money. One of the neat things we do, there's a group of disabled veterans, we call them the wheelchair vets, and they go to the Wheelchair Olympics every year. And they couldn't, again, in COVID, they couldn't go this year, but we've supported them a lot. We've paid for their airfare. We've bought them equipment. We buy them matching shirts, and they're extremely appreciative of it. But again, we get the money to do this kind of stuff from donations, the Queen of Hearts game, things like that. So it's kind of fun.
That is fun. I have been to the lodge for one of those Queen of Hearts games and bought tickets. And Steve's not kidding when he says it's packed full of people. It's hilarious. But I have met so many wonderful people there, because you come early, mm-hmm. and then you sit at the table and meet with so many neat community members who are all sitting around visiting. So it's a fun thing.
We always have something to eat, some special thing for $5, like a hamburger or whatever, so people do come early and eat and then hang around for the drawing. And quite frankly, we did it on a night that we were having a little difficulties getting people to come to the lodge, because we knew people would come.
Sure.
Because if you're there and your name gets drawn and you pick a card, you get 90% of what that card is. If you're not there, you get 50%.
That's it.
So they're encouraged to be there.
Gotcha.
There you go. Well, that helps. But it is a good socialization.
It really is.
Yeah, you're going to have to teach us that game so we can do it.
There you go.
Make some money. Barb, you asked me earlier about where to send the glasses, because we do take used glasses for donation.
Yes, thank you.
And we re-put them out. On the website, there'll be lionsclubs.org will be on there. And they can I went on it again today, and you just go on there, and it says you can join, you can find out all kinds of things about the Lions. And then up in the very right-hand corner, it says Find Clubs. And all you do is you hit that, you punch in your zip code, and it'll pick the closest club by your house, and then it goes out from there, that type of thing. So if anybody ever wants to donate some glasses, they can contact the club real easy, whichever club you want to get to, preferably the closest one. And if you want to join the Lions, it's up there as well. It says join. You don't, you'll need to get a sponsor, So that's just the way that works. But other than that, just pay your dues, just like the Elks. And it's a fun time. We do a lot of stuff for diabetes, and of course vision, and then hunger, and then environment, and then child cancer. And for this weekend, our next project, another Lions Club had contacted me to help them plant trees on the south side. So we'll be planting trees down there.
That'll
be Saturday and this Saturday and next Saturday. So, but we do all kinds of things. Now that COVID's going away a little bit, we can be a little bit more active, but we haven't been active for a year.
Sure. I love that mission, just we serve, because it opens it up to so many things.
Yeah.
I appreciate your comment about the glasses, because at Impact, we have a box that people come in and donate glasses to, drop off, if their prescription changes or for various reasons.
Yeah.
But I think that's a good idea. So anyone who has a business or some kind of counter in a public place could get one of these boxes and put it in their place of business to collect.
Oh, absolutely. And they'll take hearing aids and cell phones. The cell phones, don't get too many of them, but what they do is they strip them and they send them and they fill them up full of hours or whatever, minutes or whatever, and they give them to the veterans and stuff like that. So
nice. And then imagine the hearing aids too.
Hearing aids, thank you.
Are important,
thank you.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, that's good to know. Thank you. I was thinking too of one of your fundraisers is, I know I've driven by and there's a Polaris Razor parked out in the front. So that must be going on even because of COVID. Is that correct?
That comes from Arizona Elks Association. It's a major fundraiser for them. That thing sits around all 44 lodges during the year, and I think it's in October they have the drawing, and some lucky winner wins that thing.
Sure.
And we're going to have it, I think, next week we get it, where we'll be selling tickets for that thing.
Oh, then you can expect my husband to buy some tickets.
I was going to say,
every time it's parked out in the front of the lodge, we end up with tickets that year. So if he goes by.
We got to be pretty careful with it. Last year, the Razor got stolen from Sun City's lodge.
Oh my gosh, isn't that insane?
And I guess it's been taken a couple times from various lodges who haven't quite secured it, but.
Can anybody buy those tickets?
Anybody can buy the tickets. We'll have a sign out there saying, welcome. Anybody can come in and buy tickets. No problem.
That's nice. And then does the lodge keep the tickets, or the ticket take, or is it
no, it goes to
state pool?
Yeah, it goes to the Arizona Elks Association.
Sure.
So they're the ones running it. Major Projects, Arizona Elks Major Projects is kind of a sub-organization of the Arizona Elks Association, and they're the ones that run it. So that's one of their fundraising tools, obviously.
Sure.
So,
I'm sure they do good work with it.
Yeah. I probably won't buy a ticket because I don't know what I'd do with it if I won it.
That's true. You have to have
a place to store it.
Especially if there's such hot property that they're being taken, huh?
Yeah.
That's too funny.
Yeah, it's going to be there. And I think we have it for 2 weeks, so we'll be able to sell tickets. So
that'll be fun. Well, we'll keep our eyes peeled for that. And then the Elks, you said that they're national. Are they also international? They must only be in the U.S.
It's a Benevolent and Protective Order of Elks of the United States of America.
It is of the United States. All right, gotcha.
Yeah.
Now, I know the Lions Club, however, is international.
Correct.
Is that true?
Correct,
so
yes.
What do the Lions, I always thought of the Lions as really the vision. I mean, like that was your philanthropy vision.
Yeah, most people do, but basically it's to we serve. Yes.
Yeah,
yes,
that surprised me.
Yeah, just because Helen Keller started it off, that's probably what everybody thinks that, but no, It's not. It's just it's a service industry, and
that's cool. So what do they do internationally?
All these floods and everything. I mean, they clean water for like down in Africa, stuff like that, where the water's real dirty. They'll send down machines that'll clean the water up so they can drink it so they don't go blind.
Sure.
They help after floods, fires, everything. I mean, they're there for everything. Earthquakes. When the hurricane hit down in Texas, they were there. I mean, it's just amazing. They're everywhere. It's just a lot of fun to see what they do. And then on that Lions website, you can go and look and see what they're just everywhere. It's amazing. They have a C. Kirby Smith deal that we do. It's an exchange student. So somebody from Brazil can come to Arizona, actually, to Tucson, and someone from Tucson goes to Belgium. And it's just a swap with the Lions Club places. So they can see how we do things, and we can see how they do things over there. How lucky we have it here is what I'm trying to say.
Sure.
It's the couple of the people stayed with us, and we took them into Costco, And that just freaked them out.
I bet if they come from a place that it doesn't,
Yeah.
that's kind of food insecure, and then to have that volume must be overwhelming.
And the people in there and how much food there was, they just couldn't believe it. And then we took them down to the missile silos down there in Green Valley. Mm-hmm. They go everywhere. They go on the south side of down by Tombstone and all that area, Benson, and then they go up to not this year, but the Grand Canyon. And they stay there, get to see the Grand Canyon, and they're gone for 2 weeks, and then they're here for 2 weeks. So the host family has them for 2 weeks, and then you take them wherever you want to take them.
That must be a really unique experience when you consider that we live in the Southwest, which is unlike anything else.
Correct.
Because like when you say Tombstone, it's really, I imagine kids in other countries watching cowboy movies, Westerns and cowboys and Indians, and then to come down here and see it so live. And of course, some of those movies have been taped here. So it must just be like no other place they've ever been.
Yeah, there was their idea of Americans change. A lot of them, because they're told something totally different.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean they're schooled a little bit differently, and then they see how we really are, and they say, "Hey, this isn't too bad." Yeah, so it's a lot of fun.
That's very cool. Well, I wanted to check in and see if there was anything else that you wanted to share
there's one thing
about.
I should say, Jim. You mentioned
Sure.
the medical technology thing that the Lions are doing. One of the major things that the Arizona Elks deal with, and you probably heard of the Steele Memorial Children's Research Center down in Banner. The Arizona Elks Association, combined 44 lodges, spend thousands of dollars in support of that center. Every year we have 2 meetings a year, and they raise usually about $250,000 per meeting to go to them. We bought a high-level microscope that they needed for $500,000 for them just a few years ago. So it's a neat place. We just actually got a tour of it, and it's amazing what those people are doing. The scientists are doing with some of the children's diseases that they're working on, and we're as Elks very, very happy to be able to support them. So it's another major thing that all of us do. So
That is good to know, because I think that's the fun for me of the show, is that people have no idea these things are going on. Again, like I said, how many years did I drive by that great big elk on top of that white building, and I never for 18 years knew what the heck went on in there or all those wonderful things. And I just think it's neat. And to know that you're helping kids and through science is
we have a lot of kids
amazing.
Programs. We have scholarships for college kids, and we have a hoop shoot and a soccer shoot program. That is a nationwide thing, and we have the hoop shoot. The kids come in and they throw free throws, and the high score ones go on to the district area, and the high score ones go on to the state area, and then they go back east to the national, and the same way with the soccer shoot. They set up a big target type thing with a bunch of different individual targets, and the smaller ones get more points. And these soccer kids come in and spend 10, 15 minutes kicking the ball through there, and again it goes. The winners go to the next level, and those winners go to the next level, and the next level goes to national, and they end up with $50,000 in scholarship money.
Gosh.
On the state level, it's like $10,000. So it's kind of cool thing we do. And you mentioned some of the underprivileged people up in the Copper Core area. We have a children's shopping spree that we've done every year, hopefully, and where we take 35 kids to a store and got $150 to spend on them, and it's amazing. My wife and I have helped out with that for years, and you see these underprivileged kids showing up. You'd think they'd be looking at the toy section. Boy, they're going for the shoe section. They're going for clothes. They say, it's cold out and I need a jacket, And so that's really a cool thing that we do. And I know Impact has helped us identify some of the families in need. And we've done the same thing around Christmas time, where we adopt a family and get presents for kids that they probably wouldn't be able to get. So
Sure, definitely.
that's kind of a fun thing to do.
Yeah, when we did that one time, a couple times, we'd done it. But one time, the child, like you said, $150 is usually about what it is per child. And he says, is there any way I can buy something for my mom? She needs something, so well, of course you let them,
Right. Well, because that is an important part of it, isn't it? Giving
Correct.
to others. That's what we find, that your comment, Steve, that socks, our kids, that's what's on their Christmas wish list. And I think, oh my gosh, I don't know that socks were ever on my children's Christmas wish list. We might have put them in the stocking, some fun pair, but it is a different perspective altogether. And I think we used to do a program at Christmas time. We don't do it anymore because we kind of focused our mission differently. But we would have a holiday program where kids could come in and pick something. And then for themselves. But then and they saw Santa and did all these things. But then they also went into a room where they could choose something for their parent. And that was the favorite thing of all. They enjoyed getting their toy, but the most exciting thing for them was to get something, to pick it themselves and wrap it and give it. And it's just the most heartwarming thing as a person in the community to think, oh, these are going to be the kids that are going to be adults that are going to be joining the Lions and the Elks and Impact, and they're going to be helping out and helping other people and thinking of others. So it's neat that we're all working to help those kids and encourage that. That's exciting. Gosh, we sure thank you for all you're doing.
Well, that's what we do.
I know, and it's what
the Lions, it's what we do.
And it's what we love to do, isn't it?
We see a need and we try to address it. It's and helping these kids that need things is a good thing to do. I know my wife had a little girl one time that says, I could use some shoes. These are a little tight. And she was wearing size 4 and she needed size 6.
Wow.
And, those are the type of things we see when we do these shopping sprees. So we weren't able to do it this year, but instead we made a donation to the Roadrunner Elementary School Food Bank in lieu of this shopping spree. So
I'm sure it went to good
hopefully
use.
when we get back to some semblance of normalcy, we can do some more of these things again.
Yeah, definitely. We used to do the Arizona Deaf and Blind School once a year, the Old Pueblo Riding Club with Harleys and stuff like that, motorcycles club, would have a pancake breakfast, all-you-can-eat sausage and pancake breakfast out there. And we'd bring our van out there, our trailer. We'd set up, and we'd all day long. It's like for $5, you get all you can eat. Now all the money goes to the Arizona Deaf and Blind School. But the thing about it was, speaking of the kids, most of them were blind. A lot of them were deaf and blind. And they looked forward to that day so much because what they would do, they'd come and get their breakfast. And then after the ride was over for the Old Pueblo riders, it would be over with, they would stop back by the school and stop there and park in a line, and each child got a ride. And they just see the smile on their face because, some of those Harleys, man, they're loud.
Yeah.
But the vibration,
And
even if you
rattly.
can't hear, you can feel the vibration. They just get a smile that you couldn't believe from ear to ear. So that was a lot of fun. But we couldn't do it last year. So,
Gosh, I tell you, there's so many fun ideas of programs and projects, and I think it's one of the reasons Impact loves to partner with both organizations, that all these creative minds can come up all the time with new ways to help people and to meet the needs in the community. And I just think it's so much fun. And I'm sure the listeners today are surprised to find out all these things that are going on and all these different projects that everybody is doing together. So I think that's just really, really cool. Do you have anything else you want to add about the Lions or the Elks that you think people should know? We'll give them all the contact information. But
On top of all the other good things we do, helping other people out, we do have a social program, as you well know. We have a private members-only lounge in our club, and that's members and their spouses can come partake. And we have a dining area in the lounge as well, and we have weekly dinners that we put on. We have a couple games we put on once a month. We have a bingo day, and a lot of guys get together on a Saturday once a month and play Texas Hold'em, and of course the Queen of Hearts that we do that. And they have other specialty events that we have. We have a deal we try and do in the fall called Night Under the Stars, where we we set up a big canvas tent type thing, and we have a catered meal, and we have a band, and it can be a fun place to be, on top of doing all the fun things we do and the great things we do to help the community. So,
I know I was surprised when I first heard how many members were in the Elks Lodge, in the local Elks Lodge.
mm-hmm. Yeah, we have over 500 members now, and as you know, that's a small building. We certainly can't get them all there at once. But,
No, but that's the beauty, because then all those people can participate in all these. You have so many different choices of programs, both organizations, that when you join, you have so many different opportunities. So that's so nice to get all of it covered by so many. And it is a fun social place. That's a great place to go to see your favorite football game, because in the lounge they do have large televisions.
Yeah.
So if we're looking for some Seahawks fans, there are quite a few Washingtonians and Northwesterners.
Yeah.
So that's a good place to hang out for a game.
Wow.
I know you know our member Jan Trudeau. She does a lot of work. She's one of our community outreach committee chairs, and she is a big Seahawks fan, so she's there
Yes.
watching all the time.
And she is a great community outreach gal. We do work with her quite a bit, and I think it's just both organizations really are terrific, and we so appreciate partnering with both of you, and we appreciate all you do in the community. I think I just want to thank you both for coming out today, coming here to the Stewart Title Building, to the Tucson Business Radio X studio, and for spending the hour with me around the table, helping people learn more about your social service nonprofit clubs and how you're impacting our community, and you're helping all the nonprofits as well. So thank you both for coming.
Well, thank you
today.
for having
for
us.
inviting us.
Appreciate it.
You're very welcome.